All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 133 of RickCast. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. You've made it to Friday. Congratulations. The show's not live because I'm covering an official partner event at the range I work at, Sendero Shooting Sports, which, by the way, if you are in Central Texas and you want to take a firearms course with me, an LTC or an introduction to firearms or anything like that, you can find classes that I teach at senderoshootingsports.com. But that's why the class isn't live. The event's between 5 and 7, so it's right smack in the middle of that time frame. I didn't want to go too late for y'all, and I didn't want to go too early, so that's why we're recording the show right now. It's dropping, as you see, at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And it's hopefully still topical because at least the first one, where the idea of Trump striking Iran with a nuke is not off the table. I'll say that again. The option of striking Iran with a tactical nuclear weapon is actually not off the table, which should scare all of us, every single one of us. So we'll talk about that. TikTok has gotten another extension, which at this point, I don't even know why Congress exists, because they passed the law. It was signed into law, and Trump's just flat out ignoring it. He doesn't have the constitutional authority to do so. Bad Trump. Mike Lee is doing a secret sale of federal land, which conservatives are actually upset about. And the reason we're upset about it is because he's talking about, oh, we're going to sell this land. It's going to raise money to pay off. First of all, it's not going to even pay it. It's not even going to raise that much money in contrasting to the federal debt. And secondly, you're not selling it to a family of 6 who are looking to homestead. You're going to sell it to BlackRock. He's going to sell it to Vanguard. And then they're going to put crappy apartments for H-1B visa applicants. We all can see it coming down the pike. And then finally, Jurassic World Rebirth is on track to flop, which I was saying it was going to be the clear winner. And I think a lot of us thought was going to be the clear winner because the brand is so strong compared to Marvel and compared to DC. But I guess this is not only the bloodbath summer of the blockbuster, but also the summer where the female lead goes to die, because this will be the second franchise in as many weeks, or within, as many months, let's say, Ballerina being another one, with a female-centric lead from a well-established franchise that fails to live up to the expectations of the actual franchise. And so Tom from Midnight's Edge has been banging this drum probably for about 3 weeks now, and everybody's been like, oh, Tom, whatever. And looks like Tom may be right. It looks like Tom may be actually right on this. So we'll talk about that as well. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, leave comments below on anything that we're talking about. I will check it when I get back from the class tonight and respond to the comments that are being left. And we should be back to regular times and everything next week. This dropped out of nowhere yesterday, so that's why this one's kind of more unexpected than earlier in the week. Anyway, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. First story up of the day is Donald Trump considering tactical nukes against Iran? What we know. Here's what we know. This is from Fox News.
Jackie Heinrich, fresh from the White House briefing. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Martha. There have been a lot of headlines this afternoon, including one from The Guardian that claimed that the U.S. military has doubts about whether the bunker buster bombs could get the job done, and further claiming that only a tactical nuke maybe could finish it. And it further stated that the president is not considering a tactical nuke, that it was not one of the options that was presented to him. I was just told by a top official here that none of that report is true, that none of the options are off the table, and the U.S. military is very confident that bunker busters could get the job done at Fordo. The president is giving...
Yeah, that should scare everybody. You know what else should scare everybody? When press secretaries start saying this.
It says Iran is very close to a nuclear weapon. Is he relying on U.S. intelligence or intelligence sharing from an ally to make that assessment?
It is a fact, and the United States government maintains this fact, that Iran has never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon.
And then if the U.S. were to take some...
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard said 2 months ago, or in March, that's not the case. So what's going on with that? The propaganda is heavy So you can call me a panikin or whatever these nonsense things like Jeremy from the Quartering wants to, try and act cool like, hey guys, just trust them. Don't tell me to trust the plan. And there's some people I respect that are saying, well, I trust Trump and he's earned it. Sure. I like Trump, even with the IVF stuff and even with all the other things. I like him. He's a likable guy. That's how he won, in my opinion, 3 elections. But the fact of the matter is, the deep state and Israel wants this. And the scary thing about that is these bunker busts. The reason they're talking about tactical nukes is that Fordham, I'm going to call it the Iran nuclear facility, is buried deep into a mountain. Just like the North Koreans buried theirs in the mountains. You know why? Because they didn't want this specific scenario to happen. And I'm also going to lay this out as well. The reason the Iranians are being so picky with the fact that they have nukes or their nuclear program is after the Iraqis got theirs laid out because they kept it out in the open, the United States just walked in and regime changed that area. As much as the idea, and I don't want Iran to have a nuke. I don't want Iran to have a nuke. The reason these countries want this is because it's a deterrent to this very scenario. It's a deterrent to regime change psychotic Israelis wanting to blow up everybody. And if you listen to things, there was a culture war episode this morning where Tim had 2 people on. He had this psychotic Israeli woman and a pretty weak, I don't want to say weak, but a very passive anti-war guy on. But he did get her into a corner by saying, what are the only options? It's either diplomacy or it's total war. And they're like, no airstrikes. No. And Jack Posebek, I was looking for the clip, and others are starting to say, send the commandos into Fordham or this scenario. The bunker busters, you're going to have to, send 1, 2, or 3 of them in the same exact place to get to the nuclear facility to begin with. And then on top of that, all the important stuff's going to be at the very bottom, so you don't even know if it worked. How do you verify that the nuclear site is no longer functional? What has Rick been saying all week? Regime change. That's the only way you can verify that it's actually working. Is you have to send in commandos, which, by the way, is not going to be like sending in the commandos to get Osama bin Laden. Everybody keeps saying that. No, this is Iran's most prized nuclear facility. Yeah, don't think it's going to be guarded. Even if every single soldier that's guarding the facility has an IQ of a cow, which is like 8. There's still mass numbers of them in hostile territory. That's a one-way trip for pretty much all those commandos going in. And then guess what? The support staff, the whole thing is being set up for a ground invasion or an invasion of Iran to secure these facilities, because I heard it again. I heard it on this Timcat. Oh, in a couple years, we're going to be back in the exact same scenario if we don't change this, if this doesn't get changed. And people keep saying, I trust Trump. I like Trump. I don't trust the U.S. government. I don't trust the U.S. government outside of the fact that they have been bloodlusting after Iran for at least 24 years. And the Israelis have put Trump in this corner, or Trump has agreed to it, and this was planned all along. I don't know why. Either way, not a great scenario. Trump administration has not taken anything off the table. Now, I will give the counter argument. There are people saying, listen, he's not taking it off the table because he wants to scare the Iranians into peace talks. You know what? You've got it. I'll give that to you. I'm not going to say it's a bad strategy. Right? Okay, sure. Let's see if it works in the next 2 weeks. By the way, it takes 2 weeks. It's going to take 2 weeks for the aircraft carrier battle group USS Nimitz to get to the Gulf. That's just a nice little footnote there. Anyway, including the use of tactical nuclear weapons if it decides to take military action against the underground Iranian nuclear facility at Fordo. It followed a report in The Guardian that presented that the president is not considering using these tactical nuclear weapons on it. The Pentagon declined to comment to Newsweek, instead referring to a statement by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who said on June 16th that he had directed the deployment of additional capabilities to the Middle East. Protecting U.S. forces is our top priority, and these developments are intended to enhance blah, 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 blah. Why does this matter? Obviously, this would be the third time that these United States has used a nuke, and zero for the rest of the world. On Thursday, the Trump administration said that Trump would decide within 2 weeks, which is about as long as it takes for the carrier strike group to get there, whether the U.S. will join the Israeli military action, which, by the way, 2 weeks is also pretty much when the Israelis will be essentially out of missiles for the Iron Dome. And that will be the point where the Iranians can actually use their superstar weapons. That began on June 13th against Iran nuclear sites. Israel claims that Iran is working towards building a nuclear weapon, which they've been talking about for 40 years, while Tehran insists his nuclear program is entirely peaceful. One of Iran's most important nuclear sites is the Fordo Nuclear Enrichment Facility, which is believed to be about 80 meters deep into the side of a mountain. I don't know meters to feet. All I know is actually, let's do meters to feet. Yeah, well, first thing that comes up. So 80 meters is about 262 feet. They say the average bunker busting bomb, which is really just a bomb that is heavy. It's a gravity bomb, essentially, right? Correct me in the chat. It doesn't have a lot of power. Its power comes in the fact that it can break through concrete and all these other kinds of defenses to deliver the bomb. But the average depth of those bunker busters is about 200 feet. So you need 2 of them just to get to the top level of Fordo. And that doesn't mean that the good stuff that you're looking to get rid of is going to be there. All that stuff is going to be buried lower. Experts have suggested Israel doesn't have any conventional bombs capable of destroying the site, though on Thursday, Bibi said that we have the capacity. Whatever, he's lying. I'm not going to tell him. Unlike Israel, the U.S. possesses 30,000-pound GBU-56 bunker busters that are specifically designed to reach targets buried deep beneath the surface that can be deployed by B-2 Spirit heavy bombers. Now, remember, these things can maybe reach the top, right? Depending, they believe it's 80 meters down, about 200 and almost 300 feet. Could be more, could be less. Nobody knows anything. Everything is just analysis and probabilities. That's what security, advisors will tell you. 80% probability, 92% probability. There's an 80% probability it's 80 meters down, maybe. On Wednesday, citing people familiar with the deliberations, The Guardian reported Trump does not appear to be fully convinced that these bunker busters can reach it. It is said the effectiveness of these against the Fordo facility was a deep topic of contention within the Pentagon, citing 2 defense officials, with some reportedly believing that only a tactical nuclear weapon could actually destroy the site. Let's also think about this. And Owen Schroeder, which the interview dropped this morning and it was on last night, brought up a great point. If the nuclear facility has enriched to 60%, 70%, that's a nuke on top of a nuke. Which I guess if you're firing 1 nuke, you might as well get more nuke, right? 2 times the nuke. But they're saying it's so deep, we have to tactically nuke this site. We have to essentially blow up the entire mountain to get to it. And the fact that we are here, folks, the fact that we are here talking about that should be enough for anybody that says, stop panicking. The fact that we are even discussing the tactical nuking of a mountain should scare the bazooka out of you. This is not stuff to take lightly. And you morons, and I only say this because it's just been frustrating to me. I lovingly say it to you. The people who I've debated, that I've debated with, who have told me to sit down and shut up and trust Trump, this thing went from the Israelis can handle it. Maybe we'll do some airstrikes. Oh, we'll bring in the care. Oh, well, now we got to nuke them. When we've gone from 0 to nuking in 6 days, I'm sorry, 10 days. Give me 4 extra days. We've gone from, bombing to nuking in literally 10 days. 10 days. And so it's absolutely ridiculous that this is taking place right now. And I don't know what to tell y'all if you still believe that Trump has any kind of reason to be trusted. And it's not Trump again, it's not Trump. It's the deep state around him that is bloodthirsty for this entire thing. Let's see. It added Trump was not considering the options that had been presented by Hegseth and the others. Tactical nuclear weapons are smaller than strategic ones and are designated to be deployed for limited strikes on the battlefield rather against whole cities. They have a large arsenal of this. Fox News senior White House correspondent, I think we just saw her, said the report was false, and so forth. It's we saw most of that. But the fact that they're starting to give you the exact same talking points, we're confident that the Iranians are very capable of getting a nuclear bomb very soon. Your own director of national intelligence didn't believe that. Your own director of national intelligence didn't believe that. But yet we're gonna have this little dance and talk about this and say that well, of course it's within 5 days, 6 days. For 40 years, it's been 24 hours before the Iranians are going to get a nuke. And now the Iranians maybe are going to do peace talks with the White House. If you're the Iranians, do you trust the White House? I'm not anti-American. I'm just asking the question. Do you really trust the Trump administration, especially when they're out there saying, yeah, we totally bamboozled you by saying, oh yeah, we'll absolutely do peace talks at the same time planning with BB strikes. Because Trump's either he did know or he didn't know, or he's planned it or he didn't plan it, or any of these other kinds of things. Either way, folks, this situation is rapidly descending out of control as far as we all can tell. And I hope that when we talk about this on Monday, nothing has happened as of this point. I am desperately pleading that nothing has happened as of this point. And I think you guys are hoping that as well. And if you don't, if you think we should just nuke the crap out of the Iranians and call it a day, let me know in the comment section below. All right, RickCast, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, do all the fun things to help this show grow. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, even though the show is not live. The show will be back to its live format next week. Very confident in that. Let's get to our second story of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Conservatives are blasting Senator Mike Lee for secretly trying to sell U.S. land. And it absolutely, the crazy thing is these things are all from left-leaning sources. Very few, nobody on the right is talking about how Mike Lee is getting blasted into, figuratively, YouTube, into oblivion on this. So Benji Backer, the author of The Conservative Environment, slammed Senator Mike Lee from Utah on social media, accusing him of secretly trying to sell America's public land for development, called Lee's proposal a loser issue. A land sale plan introduced by Lee as part of President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill has sparked widespread concern. This provision in the current Republican budget proposal could put more than 2 million of acres of public land across 11 Western states on the auction block, but has drawn backlash from environmental groups, hunters, regional leaders, and even some conservatives, the reports noted. Even Representative Ryan Zinke has railed against the idea, promising he would be a no forever on the sale of public land. Now, listen, at first, the idea of, hey, let's get this federal land out of the hands of the government. The government shouldn't own this land, blah, 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 blah. And I get it. On the one hand, I even agree with the fact that this should be out of the hands of the feds, because think locally, act locally type thinking, type deals. However, it's a big however. because people will use the map image on the right as soon as I bring it up to justify this. They'll tell you, listen, man, look at all this land right here. Look at all this land. All this is federal public land. Like, Nevada doesn't even own Nevada, or most of California, or look at Arizona, or New Mexico, or Utah, or even parts of Colorado. And most of the western part of these United States is owned. So technically, I'm down with the idea of selling or getting this land out of the hands of the feds. I like it. I think it's a good idea. I do. However, because we're dealing with the federal government, I don't trust them. I don't like how I think they're going to go about it. And that's where hunters and conservationists and others are saying, hold on. The thinking behind it from Mike Lee is where everybody is really starting to kind of get pushed back on. And it's very simple, this idea that, well, we're going to sell this land. It's not parks, and it's not a lot of these other kinds of things. It's just land that we have, and we can sell it, and we can build affordable housing on there. It's like, wait. What do you mean? What do you mean build affordable housing? Here it is. I got the tweet right here from Mike Lee. And this is where everybody went, hold up. When the government owns most of the land, there's less land for hardworking Americans to own. Roughly 67% of the land is owned by the U.S. government. If we reduce that by a fraction of a percent to make housing more affordable, where's the harm with that? And he's just getting rickrolled by conservatives all out here. And this guy right here, Jerry, whatever his name is, the harm is big corporations and entities are the only ones who can afford the land. That's the problem. And people are like, go through the Rust Belt. There's hundreds of little towns. Go on 920 or I-10 or some of the back roads here in Texas. There's a bunch of dead towns, especially up in the Panhandle. They're up there. There's towns with infrastructure. There's towns with all of this stuff set up that are essentially empty. Tons of them in Texas, maybe where you live. There's tons of empty towns, ghost towns, we call them. Why do we, and this always gets me when they have to build new buildings in downtown. Well, we have to build this new building. Well, there's this building it's building right here. Why? Oh, it's too expensive to fix. It's less expensive to build a new building than to retrofit that. That's BS. It's BS because the builders want more money to actually build than to retrofit. But the idea here is now Mike Lee wants to get more affordable housing. There's plenty of it. Rebuild Detroit. Y'all seen a picture of Detroit where you have the downtown and then the rest of it, the entire thing's been raised. Now, of course, most of the outer lands of Detroit are owned by the Chinese, but that's a different conversation for a different time. Or all of these cities, there's tons of cities that are emptying out, hollowing out, that you could build or use them for affordable housing. This idea that we have to sell it. So they're taking a good idea, selling land that the Fed owns. Most people are on board with that. For affordable housing, people go, ooh, affordable housing means you want to build the crappy apartments that I'm seeing spring up all around Texas. And who are we building those for? Who are we building affordable housing for? Oh, we're building it for your H-1Bs and your legal immigrants to come in and live in. That's who's getting that. Not the family. Like, the idea is that they're selling this land off for your homesteading Catholic family of 7. They ain't getting that. Nobody's getting it. BlackRock and Vanguard are going to buy it, and they're going to own it. This proposal from Lee, who chairs the Senate Energy and Natural Resource Committee, is a long-standing push among many Western conservatives to transfer federally managed land to state or private hands. Now, if they give it back to the state, that's fine, right? If you give it back, you give this back to the state of Arizona, state of New Mexico, state of Utah, state of Colorado, give it back to the state of Nevada so they can mess it up. Whatever the state decides to do at that point, whatever. Like Alaska. Then again, like you can't live in any of these places in Alaska. If you want to give it back to the state, I'm fine with that. I don't like that. It's always that last provision. Oh, we're going to give it back to the state or a private company. Oh, wait. What was that second part? This is the private company part? What? No. Don't do that. Because we all know private company is. Lee argues the measure would help promote domestic energy production, generate new income, ease housing shortage. There's plenty of housing in cities that are run down. There's plenty of small towns you can give to people, give them tax credits to live and resettle and restart. There is no housing shortage. There is none. There's actually a housing crisis that's about to hit the market. I know Austin is going to lead the way in that regard. So don't let them try to fool you with, oh, there's a housing short. We need to help. States in the crosshairs: Utah, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. So pretty much what Mike Lee wants to do is he wants to take the conservatively red areas of the country outside of Colorado and just turn them blue. Because as soon as you put these federal lands into private hands, they're going to build them up. They're going to bring in visas and all these other people, your affordable housing, and then those are going to flip the states. Mike Lee is essentially helping to, get himself out of a job. In a video released by his office, the Utah Republican stressed parks, monuments, designated wilderness areas wouldn't be included. Instead, he would focus on isolated parcels suitable for development. Washington has proven time and time again can't manage this land. Let's put this in better hands. Yeah, I don't like your idea of better hands because I know you're going to get a kickback from BlackRock and or Vanguard. Despite his defense of the plan, he's faced opposition even within his own party. The report noted that, we already said that, a hard no on this. And so, okay, that's it. So, yeah, and plenty of conservatives and really people on X are just saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Right? We call this checkerboarding when BLM sells off to the developer investor. The investor buys a plate in a checkboard, like, the way that. So effectively claims twice the land they paid for, because you have to get these things. What is it? Land access. Oh man, you'll know what it is. There's a specific term for it where you have to get permission to go through somebody else's land to get your own land. It's like that in West Texas. They sell these, you can get 20 acres of land for like $15,000, except you'd have to get access through 4 other people's land to get there. So you have this, they'll checkerboard this whole thing out. They'll make sure all of these other things take place. Right? The problem is that hardworking Americans will still not own it. It'll be auctioned off to huge chunks to wealthy hedge funds, who will in turn sell to wealthy developers, who in turn will make it unaffordable to the people who used to be the middle class. And Mike Lee, and the thing is, we don't trust any of y'all. We know for a fact that the end game is for Mike Lee to line his pockets, because he's probably going to get a huge contribution to his re-election campaign fund. Right. All of a sudden, he'll get all the funds he needs to run for re-election. All right. It's RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Next story up. This story infuriates me. Like, Trump, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, either, crap or get off the pot when it comes to TikTok. Either repeal the law against it or let it go out. This is such a stupid thing. Trump says he signed an executive order extending the deadline for TikTok closing. June 19th, President Donald Trump issued an executive order that postponed TikTok's U.S. operating deadline by an additional 90 days. This extension responds to a 2024 bipartisan law it's a law on the books requiring TikTok's Chinese parent, ByteDance, to sell the app amid national security concerns about data access and influence from China. These things still remain, and the Chinese have now operated for 180 days. So I guess national security be damned. Who cares? Trump likes TikTok, so whatever. This is a bad Trump. Bad Trump. TikTok remains banned without a sale and briefly went dark earlier, but White House officials believe U.S.-owned spinoff deal nearing finalization caused previous delays. Senator Mark Warner condemned the administration's use of the executive order, arguing the president is attempting to bypass legal requirements, which raises concerns about both legally and national security. Senator Mark Warner, I don't know who he is, but he's right on this one. 100% correct on it. 100% correct. Right? The president should not be able to use his executive order to circumvent a signed law. You just can't. You shouldn't be allowed to do so. It's that simple. It is. You should not be allowed to do so. No ifs, ands, or buts. But we're too busy about Trump, worried about Trump nuking other places to even care. The extension allows TikTok to continue serving 170 million U.S. users and gathering up their data and selling it back to China while users negotiate, while negotiations proceed. And you're not going to get a good end on this. You're not going to get a good ending on this simply because the Chinese are going to keep the algorithm. That's what the whole thing. TikTok's algorithm is what makes it work. And they're not going to give that up. They're not going to let you get into that. So even if you buy TikTok, you're buying a shell of a company. It's like if you buy a Corvette. I don't know. Let's use a car that we actually like. Let's say you buy a 2017 SRT Viper, right? Like the real good Viper, the badass one. Except they're going to take out the engine, the transmission, the brakes, the struts, the wheels. What else can they take out? Yeah, they take all that. They take all the driving components out. But you have the shell and the interior. Congratulations. You have nothing. You have a shiny shell. And that's what you're going to have if you buy whatever China decides to sell with you and give you. It'll never be. The TikTok will not be the TikTok that you want. So they should just ban it. They should just get rid of it. Like, we can live without social media. We can live with one less social media app. I don't care. I say ban it. And the fact that Trump is extending it, bad Trump. Bad Trump. No bueno. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the show's a lot quicker today because I don't have my interactions with you guys, which really helps extend the show and makes it a lot better. But still, right? You're like, how does the show go an hour and 40 minutes when we also didn't do any warm-ups or anything like that, or any extended videos or topics? And so, yeah, that's okay because we've covered our topics and I've at least got you guys caught up this far. Last story of the day, shocker for me, because people have been asking me, hey, or, when we talk about films, hey, Rick, which one do you think is going to do well? I have people ask me on X and in this show all the time. And I said, listen, it's going to be Jurassic, Superman, Fantastic Four. And it still could be that, but it's not a sure thing anymore. It looks like Lilo and Stitch is probably going to be the winner at the box office for the summer with Minecraft. Minecraft may come out on top, right? Let's see. Minecraft box office versus Lilo and Stitch box office. Let's see here. Let's get that. So it's saying Minecraft has grossed $951 total. Lilo and Stitch is at 8. So Lilo and Stitch is about 100 million behind. So, right. And Minecraft may drop they might do a re-release towards the end of the summer to just try to get that 50 million to push it over the $1 billion mark. They may try to do that. But I think Lilo and Stitch is still going to sit around in movie theaters for, what is it, June? It'll sit around for the rest of the summer. It's going to have 1 or 2 spots in movie theaters because people are going to keep going back and seeing it. It's one of those films. It's got incredible legs. The drop has not been too bad. So I think it may be neck and neck between the two. It may be Lilo and Stitch at $9.75 and the Minecraft movie at $9.51. But those two are going to be the winners. I think, and so, because let's take a look at what Jurassic World Rebirth is going to do. And Tom from Midnight's Edge has been saying, listen, I'm telling you, I'm absolutely telling you right now, he's been saying Jurassic World Rebirth is going to suffer because it's got a female lead. There's no Chris Pratt. There's none of the original 3. There's no strong male lead, which, sorry, we made fun of it with the Jurassic World trailer where like Scarlett Johansson kicks a pterodactyl and we went, what? Anyway, the upcoming Jurassic World Rebirth movie starring Scarlett Johansson could potentially be a big bomb at the box office, as the first estimates are in for the opening weekend, and they're the lowest of the franchise. And that includes the Jurassic Park movies, even Jurassic Park 3. The estimates right now for Jurassic World Rebirth say it will open around 115 to 135 in the 5-day opening weekend. You want to compare that to Jurassic World Dominion? Their 3-day opening was 145. So Jurassic World can make 115 million in 5 days. With these estimates, it probably means it's going to sit somewhere at like 120, 125, which is 20 million less than Jurassic World Dominion did with 2 extra days. Also, compare that to Jurassic Park 3, said to bring in $85 million for its 5-day, which would be $154 million in today's dollars. If Jurassic World Rebirth's 5-day, 115 to 135 million, that means it will come in under 100 million for the first time for a Jurassic World movie to do so. Think about that. If the 5 days 115, that means the 3-day you're looking at 95, maybe 85 to 95 million, which is just mind-bogglingly stupid. These movies are supposed to be money printers. And I think people are going to go, well, this is going to be the third franchise, the third trilogy they're going to try and start. And there are questions like, listen, man, we got how many islands did InGen own? When are we actually going to get the movie where the dinosaurs are on the Earth? They were promised that in Jurassic World Dominion, and then it was like 10 minutes into the movie, and they went, yeah, never mind, we got them all. Where is the movie where dinosaurs roam the Earth? You got a tease of it in Jurassic Park 2. You got a tease of it in Jurassic World Dominion. They just will not commit to that plot. And I think people are like, I don't want to go see another movie where we're on another friggin' island. I'm done with this nonsense. Anyway, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World box office openings. The first Jurassic Park did 47, which would be 104 in today's dollars. The Lost World in 97 would be 160 for today, or 180 for its day in today's dollars. Jurassic Park 3, 154 in today's dollars. Jurassic World in 2015 opened to over $208 million. And that was pretty much right. I'm telling you, I was riding off of Pratt. People always want to say Pratt can't open movies, but all 3 of his movies opened to over 150. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was 145, and Jurassic World Dominion was 145. And the best they can think about in a 5-day period would be 135. Obviously, it's diminishing returns. What's going on? The low estimates for Jurassic World Rebirth could be based on pre-ticket sales. As a quick check of local theaters, no tickets are sold. That seems to be a trend as late. Moviegoers really aren't buying tickets early. The same thing happened to Minecraft. Nobody bought the tickets early, but the movie exploded thanks to viral marketing campaigns. Also, Jurassic World Dinosaurs little kids, they don't do pre-sales. There's a lot of walk-up traffic for these type of movies. So they have that hope where it could kind of kick over to the 145, but still. Fans seem to be waiting for critic reviews and word of mouth from hardcore fans and even YouTubers of their favorite websites, like yours truly at RickCast Reviews. The same applies to James Gunn's Superman, which opens a week later. That's another thing. These movies are all cannibalizing themselves, which is just ridiculous. Though Gunn's Amazon screenings seem to be selling pretty well. However, Friday and Saturday theaters are empty. It's also the same for Marvel's Fantastic Four, which is going to absolutely just nosedive. And barely has sold any tickets for its opening Friday and Saturday as well. So what is it? It's also Tom from Midnight's Edge has been saying this is the reason. The female lead is the reason. Not because of Scarlett Johansson. She's usually well liked. She hasn't said, she did participate in the Kamala campaign and stuff like that. But outside of that, she kind of tries to keep herself. She keeps herself off of social media and stuff like that. She's, likable and all these other kinds of things. Her husband's really good on Saturday Night Live, or the reception is very high to him on Saturday Night Live and blah, blah, blah. But I think people are tired of, and Tom's been saying, I think people are done with female leads. They're just done with it. Ballerina is a case study in that. This is a case. The thing is, like this, there's no marketing around this guy. There's no marketing around this guy. Nobody knows who this is. There's no Chris Pratt. There's no strong male, even a Jeff Goldblum, a charismatic male, right? He may not be a lead, but he's at least his own man. This guy just, first of all, look at him. He screams beta or gamma. And secondly, we don't know anything about him. The first Jurassic World was Chris Pratt on a motorcycle with raptors. And even if you thought it was stupid, you were like, okay, I get it. And that set the tone for the Jurassic World. That trilogy is going to be Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Male, female. Ironically enough, people like male-female dynamics in these kinds of films. Not now. No, it's just the Scarlett Johansson show. And she's opened, movies by herself pretty decently in the past. But I think people are just like, I'm done. I'm done with female action, Mary Sue's, girl bosses, whatever you want to call them. And I think it looks like the Jurassic World franchise is going to be the next franchise that will suffer. We're 2 weeks away from it opening, and there's no marketing around it. There's no marketing around this movie. There's, Superman's trying, Fantastic Four is trying, there's cereal boxes and all these other kinds of things. I don't see anything for Jurassic World. Nothing. And I think that's going to be a problem for them. But we'll see. Right now, 135 for 5 days would be an absolute disaster. Ironically enough, it could be a disaster and still be the best of the three just because it came out first. People don't have a lot of money to go to movies. Movie. You like my movie? They don't have a lot of time to go to movies, and they don't have a lot of money to go to movies right now. So if they're going to pick Jurassic World, Superman, that's why Fantastic Four is DOA. Nobody's going to want to go see it because it's the end of July. People are getting ready to go back to school, money and so forth. They're just going to be like, I don't want to do it. But Jurassic World, just because it's July 4th, the weekend. It's going to be the first of the three. It's still got a relatively strong brand. It may get a lot of walk-up traffic at this point because people are going to decide, most people are going to see one of the three, either Jurassic World, Superman, or Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four doesn't even play into it. They're going to have to decide between Jurassic World, and Superman. And Jurassic World may win because of the holiday weekend and the fact that it comes out before Superman. I don't know if people are going to want to wait to see it. So we'll see. All right, folks, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Thank you for hanging out with me. Shows will go back to its live format next week. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell on your way out. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the show. I will talk to you all on Monday. Y'all be good this weekend. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.